Hello, students. Fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a mind-blowing week in American literature. Welcome to Beat Week. Welcome to idol-smashing, expectation-defying week. Welcome to something which is either genius, madness, or just the rantings of someone who's done too many drugs. Welcome to American literature after the Second World War. More dog drama over there. Sorry for that. Here's what's going on this week in American letters. First, we're going to be studying the brilliant works of Langston Hughes, who doesn't exactly invent a form of poetry, but surely welcomes an entirely new theme to poetry in the Harlem Renaissance. He embraces a political philosophy that I have a video up about called Pan-Africanism. And even though there are multiple leaders in Africa and elsewhere who embrace this philosophy, surely no one has articulated it more eloquently and magnificently than he has in his deceptively simple-sounding poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers. We're going to talk a bit about the Harlem Renaissance as a phenomenon. It must have been amazing to go to the parties during the Harlem Renaissance where people would discuss literature, play jazz, smoke weed, eat soul food, and have just a ton of fun. There are photos, not of the weed smoking, I'll warrant, but everything else. And when I was a student, I would look at these photos and say, wouldn't it have been great to be at the party? Wouldn't it have been great to overhear the conversation? Wouldn't it have been great to be part of this wonderful American conversation? You're going to be part of this conversation. Then we're going to be reading a poet who really throws everything we thought we knew about poetic convention out the window. He doesn't invent American poetry. In fact, he borrows a great deal from two sources that are very important in his work. Allen Ginsberg borrows a good deal from Walt Whitman, who is truly his granddaddy. And he also borrows from jazz and jazz singers who scat and the rhythms and rules of jazz. But his subjects are so controversial that just like a rap artist might get his lyrics banned from the radio, Allen Ginsberg's book, Howl, which is just a mushroom cloud, mind-blowing work of genius, it gets itself banned when it comes out in the 50s. And if you read it, which you will, you won't be too surprised listening to it that it would get banned in the Eisenhower era, an era of noted for its culture of conformity, generally speaking, in the United States, has poems which don't reject communism, talk about drugs, talk frankly and vividly about gay sex, which is emotionally messy and is generally an embrace of the irrational, is anti-war, doesn't want to have a cold war or a hot one, and questions who is really crazy, the people in the nut house or the people who are out on the streets putting other people in the nut houses. you can understand why it offended like a lot of people. But at the same time, I'm not asking you to embrace his philosophy, but I'm asking you to enter into the genius of what he has done, how he has deconstructed poetry. He has taken the calm deconstruction of Walt Whitman, and he has made it into like a blaring guitar anthem that then the guitar gets smashed and then set on fire. It's freaking awesome. In fact, I'm going to say this. If you like even one rap artist, that rap artist owes some kind of debt to the kind of poetry that Allen Ginsberg invents. He's part of a group called the Beatniks, and he invents with them beat poetry. So welcome to Beat Week. Welcome to Beat Week. You're going to have so much fun. It is going to be passionate, often angry, sometimes a little shockingly gross or just shocking. It's going to be deep in its discussion of political philosophy and conformity versus nonconformity in the post-war era. And it is going to be about the delights of poetry when it is best. Poetry ought never be boring. It ought to just make you feel like you've been to like the most passionate party, the wildest night. It ought to open up a door to something almost lunatic. And I promise you, these poets freaking bring it. So fasten your seatbelts, campers. We're going up the hill on a bumpy Jeep ride.